Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gita, Chapter 11, the Universal Form, text 13 and onward. Page 530 in the temple room. Tatraikvastam jagat kristam pravibhaktam enekada apyasha deva devasha sharire pandavastada. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Text 14. Tata sa vishmaya vishtro hristaroma dhananjayaha pranamya shirsha devam kritanjalir abhasata. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Text 15. Arjuna uvacha pashyami devams tava deva deha sarvams tata bhutu vishin sangaham brahmanam misham kamala sanstam Rishimscha sarva ugramscha devan. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. Text 16. Can somebody help me with this melody? Aneka bahu daravakta nitran pashyami tvam sarvatvanata rupam nantam tamiram na punastaudinim pashyami vishvara vishvarupa. O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many, many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes, expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all this. Kiritinam gadinam chakrarijarim cha tejo rashim sarvato pitpirimnam pashyami tvam duranam shashataram tad dipti taran larka dutam aparameyam. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun.
Tvam aksharam paramam veritvadyam Tvam asya vishvasya param nidhanam Tvam avyaya shashvata dharma gopta Sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead.
Anadimadyantam ananta vidram Ananta bahum shashishurya netram Pashyami tvam dipti hutsavagram tram Svatejasa vishwamidam tapantam.
You are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. Text 20. Dvayava prevayoritam anantaram hi vaipitam tvaikena dishastarva
Drishtva bhutam rupam ugram tavedam lokatrayam pravyatitam mahatman.
Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. Text 21. Amihi tvam surva sangha vishanti kechid bita prananjalo grinati svastiti yukva maharishi siddha sangaha stuvandi tvam stubita pushkalabdihi. All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands they are singing the Vedic hymns. Text 22. Rudradita vashvashoye sadya vishveshvinu marutas kompayascha Gandharva yakshashura siddhasanga viksanti tvam vipamistaiva sarve. The different manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Aditas, the Vashus, and the Sadyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Asvins, the Maruts, the forefathers, and the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. Text 23. Rupam mahate bahuvakta netram bahu rupadam bahudaram bahudam shitrakaralam drishtavaloka bhavitastastaham. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. Back to text 13. Translation. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Tridandi Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word tatra there is very significant. It indicates that both Arjuna and Krishna were sitting on the chariot when Arjuna saw the universal form. Others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision only to Arjuna. Arjuna could see in the body of Krishna many thousands of universes. As we learned from Vedic scriptures, there are many universes and many planets. Some of them are made of earth, some of them are made of gold, some are made of jewels, some are very great, some are not so great, etc. Sitting on his chariot, Arjuna could see all these universes, but no one could understand what was going on between Arjuna and Krishna. Om Vishnu Hare Krishna Vasudeva Bhagavate Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Evi Shesha Shrivani Krishna Kristaya. This is a pretty important little sentence here in the purport. Prabhupada says, others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision only to Arjuna. So, sometimes we hear that we should endeavor to see Krishna face to face, eye to eye. And that's true. That's what this life is meant for, is for seeing Krishna, for seeing God, and returning to our original position with Him. But we can't just see Him based on our own endeavor. So it's also said, don't act in a way where you can see Krishna, but act in a way where Krishna wants to see you. Because Prabhupada's saying here that that Krishna gave Arjuna the vision to see not only him on the battlefield, but also this universal form, and nobody else could see it. So, for instance, there could be somebody here in this room that's seeing Krishna right now, but we wouldn't know because we haven't been given those eyes to see. So this is a very important point, and we should endeavor our life at every moment that way. Every thought, word, deed, and action in all times, places, and circumstances are for cultivating pure devotional service within our hearts. And that way, eventually, we'll come to this platform of Krishna seeing our bhakti. He's seeing our devotion, and he wants to reveal himself to us. He wants to show us his threefold bending form, playing the fifth note on his flute on the Keshigat. We can actually see that, or all these other different pastimes too. But as we heard last night also, this universal form, not so attractive to the devotee, but that threefold bending form, wow, that's what the devotees aspire for. So if we endeavor in such a way to make every thought, word, deed, and action in all time, place, and circumstances, at some point we will see Krishna face to face, eye to eye. You know, when we die, it's actually, we'll see it as the greatest blessing. We'll just be like falling asleep and waking up at the lotus feet of the Lord, seeing him in his pastimes, and whichever pastime we are engaged in eternally, we'll just wake up there. I heard a really amazing analogy once. It was really far out. It was, imagine that we're sitting up there in Goloka Vrindavan taking lunch with Krishna. And I grab this nice big laddu. Like, wow. And I just plop it in my mouth and I'm chewing on it. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is really nice. Nice laddu. What if I was the enjoyer? Fall down immediately, millions, eternity, lifetimes, suffering, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, suffering. All these different things, all these different forms, just like eternity, suffering. And then we hear the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we get so attracted and we give our lives back to Krishna, and in a short amount of time we begin tasting spiritual happiness, and then and back there swallowing the laddu. What the heck was I thinking? That was a weird thought. And then we're back there with Krishna. So that's kind of an interesting way of looking at it. Is the real spiritual world is timelessness. So that's where we are right now. We're thinking, we're living in the year 2022, and there's been 2,000 years since, Christ or whatever, millions of years even, this world has been here, but it's quicker than a fraction of a lightning flash, like quicker than that, all of this temporary world. The real eternal world is with Krishna. So we should endeavor to see that again. Krishna is the reservoir of all relationships, actually, and we're seeing here one of those relationships that one can have with Krishna. Arjuna on this battlefield is his friend, and Krishna is revealing him to him, this universal form, and he's remembering, whoa, you're God, and you're full. This is all you, and he's realizing that maybe I was being too intimate, too non-respectful with you. But Krishna actually likes that relationship with the devotees. He has an unlimited varieties of relationships with all his devotees, with all living entities, and we each give him a specific taste that nobody else in all of existence, in all of the infinite amount of jiva souls there are. We give Krishna a specific taste that no other jiva living entity gives him. So he's actually missing us there in the spiritual world. He's missing us that we're not there with him, tasting that right now. And so let's endeavor to get back there. There's an interesting example of this relation is that imagine a feast, and we come to the Sunday feast, and we tell everybody about it. Yeah, come on, there's a huge feast, like come to the temple, and then we're over there serving it out, and we're just serving out plain white rice. And like, wait, this is a feast? Yeah, it is a feast. It's a huge bunch of plain white rice. You eat as much as you want. It's a feast. Wait, what do you mean? Like, no, like we want a variety of different flavors and taste and feast. So that's Krishna is the same way. He doesn't just want robots, render service, beep beep, boop boop, all the same. No, he gives us personality, flavor, so he can enjoy in unlimited amounts, just like we like to enjoy different flavors. So he's doing everything he can actually right now to get us back, to attract us through this kirtan, through this variety of flavors in this Krishna consciousness movement. And he's trying to get us back by, giving us nice prasadam, nice kirtan, nice philosophy that we can actually become intelligently satisfied. I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? There's like a bunch of other religions and faiths out there. We got to do it this way. If you don't do this way, you're a complete rascal. You're a complete idiot. And sometimes we preach like that too, but we also give you the philosophy to understand why, if you don't surrender to Krishna, you are indeed an idiot. You are indeed a rascal. But we give you the philosophical understanding so that your intelligence is satisfied. It said that we should inquire till our intelligence is fully satisfied. Get free from all doubts. These doubts, they don't serve us. So we have to endeavor to bring them up to each other, to our seniors, to help us get through these doubts we have, because we're simply blocking ourselves from tasting the ultimate pleasure of existence, the ultimate pleasure of life, which is love of Godhead. So let's get back there. Another thing that can block us from this is offenses towards the holy name and offenses towards devotees. My Gurudev says that offenses build fences. So they're blocking us. It's a huge fence that's blocking us from Krishna by my offenses to the holy names and the offenses to the devotees. And some offenses to the holy names are more prominent than others. Like if we think that, oh yeah, I'll just, like the holy name, it counteracts all sinful activity. So, I can do whatever I want. I'll just have some sex or some illicit sex or smoke some marijuana or take some LSD or, whatever. And I'll just, chant an extra round or two and, I'll be good, but no, that's a big offense, actually. That's taking the strength of the holy name to endeavor for my own material desires, which is completely rascaldom. So we can't actually do that. The holy name will counteract our material desire, our material sins, but we also have to endeavor to get rid of them. Like there's many different practices, or you just go and every one day of the week you go to the church or to the temple and you beg for forgiveness for your sins. And then, you ask for some like material things too. God, I'm sorry that, I'm sorry I raped that girl last night, but, please, give me like a Lamborghini or something, because that would make me really happy. So we can't be like that. We also have to endeavor to fully love God in every thought, word, deed, and action in all times, places, and circumstances. And we shouldn't just pray for material things. Like there's a little jingle that some people sing. I've never heard them sing this, but I've heard that people actually do sing this. It goes like this. Give me a Cadillac, a brand new Cadillac, replete with Michelin tire. Give my wife a new silk sari. Give my kids a Harvard education. Give me a house by the sea. Om Jaya Jagadish Hari. So people sing like that, actually. So so that's completely stupid. We can't pray like that. God's not just this order supplier where I just like put in my request and boom, there it is. Like it's not like the Amazon God, that just boom, there it is, whatever I need. No, actually, Although God may give us some material things just to give us faith in him, but when there comes a certain platform, we have to realize that devotion is the only thing that I need, and that the only thing that will help me in my life. And then once we come to that level, once we have faith in God, God might just take away everything from us. And that's actually the greatest blessing, because we're left with nothing but pure devotional service to the Lord. And if you look around, all these devotees here, serving the deity so nicely, that's like their main service, just to dress the deity and bathe the deity and offer the deity nice foodstuffs. And some people just very humbly would rather just clean the temple and like wash the pots, and they're fully just absorbed in that service. And some people like to go out and give lectures and Shishigorna Taiki Ja, and preach, distribute books and all these things. They don't need anything else but that service. They just want more and more service. And the only thing they're not satisfied with is because they don't have enough service. They just want more service. And they're like, man, I just sleep and eat, and like I'm just no more time to do more service. And even those devotees who literally like don't eat and don't sleep, they're still thinking like that. Like, I just want to serve you more and more and more. So that's life. You know what I mean? Like, that's like where we're supposed to be. And we should endeavor to get back to where you once belong, in the spiritual world with Krishna, with Radha and Krishna, tasting infinite sweet balls and dancing in ecstasy and chanting the holy names. So this movement we're in, this ISKCON Hare Krishna movement, is a preaching movement, actually. Like, yes, in one sense too, we can be fully satisfied with whatever service we're doing in the temple, like I was explaining. But we always need to be in the mood of preaching, because that's what Lord Chaitanya wants us to do. Lord Chaitanya says that we should become perfect in understanding the science of Krishna, instruct everyone we meet in the science of Krishna, become guru, and deliver the world. So he can empower us to do that, actually, no matter where we are. It doesn't matter, like, just because, maybe I'm a book distributor, that doesn't mean that I'm the only one preaching. No, actually, everybody's preaching in our movement. We should always be in that mindset of, how can I do this so nicely that I can attract the whole world to Krishna consciousness? Not everybody wants to go out and, give out books or like, preach lectures or whatever. So, but they can actually like worship the deity so nicely that way. People come in, that's preaching too. People come in, they see, wow, like what? Wow, that's so beautiful. Those deities, wow, like that's amazing. I just want to sit here and just look at them. They're so beautiful. Or like, wow, that person's doing that so nicely. Or wow, this prasadam, this person cooked it with so much love and devotion. I can taste it. I can taste the love. Or like, wow, that person's singing with such, not just their voice is nice, but with so much heart and soul, so much love for Krishna. So in that way, we should always be endeavoring that, we can do this preaching Harinam Sankirtan revolution, whatever our service is. So that's what we're meant to do, and that's what's pleasing to Lord Chaitanya and the Sampradaya Acharyas. Always be in the mood of preaching. Always be in the mood of Sankirtan. Not just that, chant our rounds, finished, now let me just space out and think of sex, think of like, what's for lunch or whatever like that. No. Or sleep, let me just take a nap now. No. It's we chant our rounds with full attention, fully endeavoring that I can attract the whole world to chanting this Hare Krishna mantra also, because that way we can bring in a spiritual environment to this suffering, horrible, dark world that we're living in, unfortunately. And there's they're not tiny, but there's like little light beams in all our ISKCON temples all around the world. And it's pretty interesting. I was thinking, some time ago, that like, to me, whenever I think of like Kansas City or like Dallas or like Houston or Austin or, Los Angeles, I usually think of, first thing that comes into my mind is like the ISKCON temple there. Like, oh wow, Dallas, yeah, Kalachandji's, wow, like Dallas is so great because Radha Kalachandji's, wow, that place is awesome. Or like, oh yeah, Austin, like my spiritual master is there, my Guru Mata is there, my godbrothers, such a cool place. But I realized that people don't think like that. They don't think like that. They think, oh yeah, Austin, music capital of the world. Or they think of like New York, like let me go to like Broadway or like Times Square. It's like so like gross material things they think of. But we have these such amazing centers with such beaming light and bliss and ecstasy. So like, if you think about it, I mean, there's like, maybe 10 people here, and like in our whole congregation, maybe 100. And like, that's really all the people that are like, fully actually see that light that's here. And that's great. That's amazing. All those people are seeing that, but there's so many people here. And like, we should try to preach so strongly and have so much devotion that when people think of KC, they think of Krishna consciousness. They think of Hare Krishna KC, not just Kansas City. They think of, wow, Rupanuga Vedic College. That place is awesome. Like, such a spiritual place. So we can think like that with whatever our service is: washing pots, distributing books, rendering service to the deity, sweeping the floor, whatever it may be. So we can come to that level of understanding and become perfect, actually. Jai. Does anybody have any questions so far? I saw Damodar's hand first.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question about text 13.
Okay.
Where, unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Yeah, sorry, Prabhu.
Can you say it again?
Yeah, unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Could you maybe talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's describing, to my limited knowledge, that Arjuna is seeing Krishna's universal form in like one spot. Like, he's looking there and he just sees everything. It's like looking at you and I see everything. Like yeah, it's also everywhere, but it's like just within him. Like Mother Yashoda looks in Damodar's mouth and she sees the entire universe within, this big of a space. So that's like the potency of God, is like he can reveal that to somebody, and everything is actually within him. So by looking in a little mouth, it's actually everything. So that's like the potency of God. That's the power of God. So Arjuna's, I guess, tapping into that, seeing thousands of universes just in the body of Krishna. Hope that's okay. The divine entity Krishna.
I just have a comment about that. It made me think of Achinta Beta Beta Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. Inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. Just like, we're in the material world, but the material world is like a cloud situated in the corner of the spiritual world. So we're simultaneously in the spiritual world, but we're one with Krishna, but we're also not. So it's just kind of mind-blowing to think of those things.
Yeah, it's a far thought. What is he?
Hare Krishna. I have a comment/question. So you were talking about like this really nice meditation on like, we were sitting with Krishna and we were about to eat this nice big laddu, but then we have these thoughts of enjoying, separate from Krishna. So I've had this question and I've asked this question in the past, and I've heard other devotees ask this question of how did we end up here? If Krishna says that once you make it to the spiritual world, you don't come back, that comment. And the only answer I've heard was, it's like the analogy of the, what happened first? Did the fruit fall from the tree or did the bird fly off first? I don't know if have you heard this?
Yeah, well, we're here. We fell down because we're stupid. Because we think that we can enjoy separately from Krishna. So that's the ultimate reason. And now we're eternally suffering here in this cycle. So that's really my only understanding, is my own stupidity is why I've fallen down
I have
into
a
this
question.
material world.
Sorry. I just had a question related to this, though. I was wondering, like, if you could share maybe where you have, like, read or heard that as soon as, we have those thoughts of enjoying separately from Krishna, that we just fall.
Yeah, I've heard this from my spiritual master, that envy of Krishna is what starts the fall down. So we can't be envious of Krishna in the spiritual world. Krishna then makes this material world for us to try to enjoy separately from him. So this material world is like a breeding ground for that, trying to enjoy separately from God. Even though we can't, Krishna is so merciful that he allows us the opportunity to try to enjoy separately from him. So this is also a gift from Krishna, this material world, that, okay, you want to enjoy separately from me, then here you go enjoy separately from me. And we're so foolish that we take up that, we try that anyway, and Krishna doesn't want us to. He says, you're not going to enjoy there, but you're, go ahead and try. So we're unable to. I hope that maybe helps a little bit. Hare Krishna. Radanga Prabhu, got some nectar for us.
In answer to that question, you pointed out that once one goes back there, he never returns again to the. But that's after having once fallen. So he's learned his lesson. So when we fell, we hadn't fallen before. We had to learn our lesson. We're learning it right now. So when we return, we won't fall again. So that makes perfect sense.
Once burned, twice shy.
On that topic, how do we discern between, okay, so being in the temple means we're living in Goloka Vrindavan, and yet we're still we're not there entirely seeing everything. So what would you speak on that, please? Because on the difference, how do we, as we're learning to discern between the material world and the spiritual world, which is also here, what would you say about that?
Yeah, you're referring to how the great acharyas say that the temple is as good as Vaikuntha?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, so it is as good as Vaikuntha, because the only thing that goes on here is service of God, service to Vishnu, service to Krishna. So that once again goes to my own foolishness, my own stupidity, that I'm not able to see that, and I'm still attached to all these lower desires, like enjoying separately from God. So yeah, we should endeavor to get rid of these, kick them out with boot. And that way we can actually realize, wow, I'm in the spiritual world right now. This is the spiritual world, service to God, service to Krishna. So we can remind ourselves that, actually, like at every moment. At every moment we should remind ourselves of that. Wow, I'm here. There's Krishna himself on the platform right there. There's Lord Chaitanya Nityananda dancing in spiritual ecstasy. There's Srila Prabhupada. He was never not in the spiritual world. So we can see all these things to remind us. But at least for my sake, I'm such an idiot that I don't even remind myself of that. I'm just like spacing out, thinking, all right, well, this is going to be over, and when can I go nap, go sleep, whatever. So don't be stupid like me. Like look at this deity, look at Srila Prabhupada, look at all these pictures, and like, wow, this is it. This is the perfection of my life. Hare Krishna. Does anybody else have anything? Magadari Prabhu?
I don't have the proper reference, but as far as I've heard, Prabhupada has a purport in the 8th canto where he discusses that the first step for a soul who has fallen from the spiritual world is to take the body of Lord Brahma.
Right.
So in that purport, that fall down is discussed. So maybe we can get more information from that. As I mentioned, I don't have the proper reference. One thing that I thought that I would like to ask you about was, you mentioned a phrase. I don't have it in too much context, but you said endeavor to love, which I thought was interesting. And I'd like to understand more. I don't have everything, but we were speaking about how we have doubts, we have to inquire, they're blocking us, and that then you mentioned offenses to build defenses. Then this point came out, which I don't have more than just endeavor to love. So what does that look like for us?
Well, understanding that I don't have love for God and that I'm supposed to have love for God. So how do I get love for God? I should pray. I should endeavor, meaning I should pray that I can gain love for God, that God, please help me give love to you. And Srila Prabhupada, please let me give love to God. And my Guru, please let me give love to God. Sampradaya Acharyas, you have it, so please give it to me. And if we don't desire to love God, then we don't pray to love God, then let's desire to desire. Let's pray to love God. And if we can't do that, then let me pray to love God, desire to love God. So we have to realize where we are at a certain level and try to go that way, because first thing, I don't have love for God. I mean, if I did, I wouldn't have my material desires that I'm still clinging on to so foolishly. So, are you asking what that looks like, or what does it mean? What does it look like for us? Well, it looks like, praying for it and making every thought, word, deed, and action in all times, places, and circumstances as an endeavor to love God. So when I'm chanting my rounds, okay, I don't have any love, but please help me at least develop attachment for this so that I can gain love for you. Or washing the pot, I have no love for you, God, but please help me scrub this pot, scrub my heart clean, become pure so that I do have love for you, God. Or if I'm distributing a book, I don't have any love for you, God, but please help me by distributing this book, get some pleasure from spreading love for God to this person here. And in that way, allow me to get some. So does that clear anything up for you? Okay. Maternath Prabhu has some nectar for us.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gave us the most facility that we could ask for to learn how to love God. That is what these ISKCON centers are for. But is about everyone who's sitting in this room, they have some kind of desire to love God. It may not be fully manifest yet, but what can we do? We can do our service just like you were saying. Because Prabhupada, he gave us this facility. In the material world, there's not this facility. Ability to serve God is on a pretty pure platform just as is, whether or not we're pure in the consciousness or not. We're rendering in any one of Srila Prabhupada's centers all over the world, we're rendering direct service to God. It's not it's not indirect service, it's direct. So
Right.
it's a lot easier to develop in this way. And another thing that I thought on this point was, if we can understand that, Krishna is non-different than his paraphernalia, he's non-different than his devotees, then we can look at everything. We can start to fine-tune our vision in a way that we're actually seeing everything in relation to serving him. We're seeing everything in relation to him. So now we're seeing this Prabhu as, wow, he's endeavoring to serve Krishna. I can love that about him. We may not we may not see eye to eye sometimes, or we may disagree on certain intricacies of how things are done, but wow, he's actually like trying so hard to serve Krishna. And he's, like you were saying, he's completely individual. And his individuality is pleasing to the spiritual master, is pleasing to Krishna. So if we can like see everything like this, even if it's, somebody out in the material world who is engaged in, sinful activity, wow, this person, he doesn't know he's a servant of God yet. Let me try to give him something so he realizes that he's a servant of God. And, if we can see things like this, we can develop some love. How can you love God if you don't love his creation or the people who are trying to serve him? So we can make an attempt by, trying to support and care for, those around us and, render service in Srila Prabhupada's movement and pray like anything, like you were saying.
Also learn to love his devotee. I was just reading today, and my Gurudev always hammers this point in, that Krishna himself says, my devotee is not my devotee, but the devotee of my devotee, that is my devotee. Jai, we have a few minutes left. Anybody else has any? Damodar Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. On that point, I was just wondering, how can we practically see past others' faults and just see he's sincerely endeavoring?
The devotee has no faults, actually. I have all the faults in my heart. And me finding their faults is because I'm full of faults. So that's it's a complete waste of time. It's a completely offensive mentality, and we're all suffering from it. So let's all try to see each other as divine representatives of Guru and Krishna and see them that they have no faults in themselves. They're purely serving Krishna to the best of their capacity. And I should render service to them because they're serving God, and I'm full of faults because I'm seeing that they have faults, but really they don't have any faults. As long as they're chanting their rounds, following the regular principles, at least if they've made those vows, or if somebody's endeavoring to worshiping them. I mean, the nectar of instruction, it's talking about this, that we should offer respects to all devotees, even those who haven't taken initiation physically, that we should still forget the exact words, but worship them within our mind. So seeing devotees that way as faultless can be helpful for us. But that doesn't mean that I should also be intelligent, and not necessarily that, this brand new person walks in and I'll just follow their instructions. I should still follow instructions from those who are authorized to give it to me. But I should see that anybody endeavoring nicely to become a devotee of Krishna is actually faultless. So we have to use our intelligence. There's a funny story. I have a minute left about intelligence, so maybe I'll tell it. I was going to try to work it in, but I'll do it now. So I don't know if anybody's heard this, the list Das. Anybody heard this story before? Okay. So it's about using our intelligence properly. There's a king, and he's riding on a horse. And I don't know, they're on a trail somewhere. They're going to some other kingdom, and he has his servants with him, and they're walking behind. And the king is walking or on the horse, trotting along, and a gust of wind comes and his hat blows off. And the servants just keep walking along, and the king's like, what the heck? Why didn't you? I'm the king. You're my servant. Why didn't you pick up my hat? We didn't know. So they went and they grab his hat and they give it back to him. Okay. Yeah, and the king says, if anything falls from, he's carrying all these things on his horse. So if anything falls, then you give it back to me. Okay. So they're walking along, and then the horse passes stool. So, the king said, okay, we dropped this. So they grab the stool and they give it back. Here you go, king. You said anything that, like, well, you idiot. That's stool. You're handing, well, you said, but it dropped. Well, like, what, you say anything that drops, you give it back to you. King's like, no, like, that's stool. It's like, oh, well, how do we know what to pick up if it falls and what not to pick up if it falls? Like, so he writes a list of everything on the horse, and if that falls off, then they pick it up and give it back to him. So okay, we got this. We're ready. Like, we're gonna serve the king really nicely, and they're walking along, like, looking at the list, memorizing the list, and then they go, okay, yeah, and then they're walking along, and then there comes this tree, and the king, like, maybe he's passed out or something, I don't know, but he hits the branch, falls off. And then the servants, he's knocked out. The servants are like looking at the list. They're like, the king's not here, so they keep going. And the horse is still walking, so they just follow. Okay, I mean, it's not on the list. So, we have to use our intelligence in certain moments, not just like be the list does. Like, we have to be intelligent and use our intelligence in the service of Krishna also. And in that way, the king or our guru will be satisfied. So we should follow instructions, certainly. But, use our intelligence while doing so. Thank you very much for listening to Srimad Bhagavad-gita. Thank you for tolerating all my faults and everything that I've preached that is incorrect. Please forgive me for all my offenses. Vanchkalpadivascha kripa sindhu bheva cha.